one benefit, of course, is Mega Gengar boosts the candy drop for a ghost raid boss, as well as is super effective against it. The one downside, of course, is Mega Gengar is weak to Psychic. So that's something I have to deal with still every day.
But how common could raid Pokemon that are also Psychic type be, Kyle?
I mean, it's the only reason you're bringing Mega Gengar in the first place.
The answer is incredibly common.
It's so common. Why are they so common?
You're tuned into the GOCast podcast, your one-stop shop for updates, news, tips, and community in the world of Pokemon Go. Thank you for listening.
Mark your calendars to save the dates for the upcoming events in Season 10.
Location cards will make your memorable catch that much more special.
Hey Kyle, what's a water and ghost type's favorite sandwich?
Why, a PB&Jellicent, of course.
And more on this episode of GOCast. Hello and welcome to the GOCast podcast, episode 225. It's February 7th, yet another Tuesday evening. I'm your host, Chris, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Kyle.
Hiya.
Hey, Kyle, how you doing this week?
I'm doing okay.
All right, we're back to the okay. We're back to the okay. So next week, if, because we're Pokemon Go players and patterns are a thing, you will be all right next week, perhaps.
Maybe. I think I was okay last week, too.
We got to have somebody keep track of it for us. This is getting out of hand. Well, it's good to hear that you're doing okay, at the very least here. We are all doing great here. And I'm very excited to talk about some Pokemon Go. But unfortunately, the news just doesn't seem to match my excitement. Maybe matches your level of excitement for this week. I don't know. We haven't gotten there yet. But before we get into the show and any of that other good stuff, shout out to our patron community. Thank you so much to all of our patrons who help support our show and make this show and all the things we do here possible and all that good stuff. More about Patreon and patronage at the end of the show. And a big hello visually to anybody who might be checking in on the video version of the podcast. This can be viewed on YouTube, or if you do listen on Spotify, the video version is also in there. We've done 3 video podcasts so far, and I asked generally the patron community what they thought, and a lot of people were like, what? There's a video? So I'm making mention of it now. That's the plan. So go check it out if you like, and it's a cool version of experiencing the show. But enough about that for right now. Mr. Kyle, we set some goals last week, and we've had since Noibat Community Day, which was on Sunday, not Saturday, on Sunday. So you had set a goal for yourself of 15 shiny Noibat. How did that go for you?
I only got 10.
Only got 10. Oh, man. Well, 10 is still an incredible number all the same. What say you? What's your excuse, young trainer?
I just didn't play as hard. The mall was excessively packed, and it wasn't very comfortable to play and be around. So, yeah, I just didn't catch as much.
Fair enough. That's a good reason.
The luck was also not there at the start. It was bad.
Oh, no. Yeah, I remember I checked in with you, I think like 45 minutes in or 50 minutes, and you're like 0. I'm like,
yep.
No. How's that
About
possible?
3 minutes after you did text me, I got 2 in a row.
Oh, good.
So there was that.
Great. Like that's a good let's go moment out loud in the mall. 300,000 Stardust. How'd that go for you?
I did do that.
Excellent. Mega progress.
Yep. Continuing everything that I have enough energy for, or free evolutions, of course.
Okay. And then, of course, buddy progress as well.
Yes. Not as much as I would like. I kind of forgot halfway through the week, so I only did a few days. But
hey, that counts. That technically counts. So, Kyle, you're getting very good at setting these goals in a way that, like, even if you forget, you still did it.
Hey, it was only one of them.
That's true. 3 out of 4. That's not bad, Kyle. That's not bad. For myself, I wanted to catch 30 shiny Noibat. I walked away with, was it 39, 49? One of those two. Jeez. 39, I think. Hatch 50 eggs. I did manage to do that, although I don't have proof of it because this week and everybody I've talked to, which is very strange, which is the sample size of 6 people, which is still a lot. Our adventure sync summary for the week, the pop-up didn't come up for all of us. And for those of you that don't know, we take screenshots of those in our community for our fitness tracking challenge we do every single quarter. That's what we use to keep track of it and keep each other accountable and all that good stuff. So none of us could have it. So some of us, took a picture of the journal entry, which was there, but nobody got the pop-up.
Yeah, that's
very strange.
That's fair. I didn't either. I didn't even think about it because I generally just click away from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's very, like, if it's not an important thing to you, that's not something you're going to even think about, right? But I'm very surprised. It happens rarely to some people because it's one of those things that's in your notification stack. Like, oh, this Pokemon came back from a gym. Your friend opened this gift. It's one of those, right? So sometimes you miss it, but all of us, strange stuff. But yeah, I did hatch 50 eggs. I think my number was around 56. I'm not entirely sure. One non-community day shiny. Unfortunately, despite all of my shiny luck during Noibat Community Day, it ran dry for the remainder of the week. So that's too bad. I'm looking to roll the dice on the Valentine's event, hopefully. 500,000 Stardust. I got 478,000 just on Community Day. So yes,
pretty good.
Yes, yeah, it was great. The tasks were a nice little bonus. 750 Stardust a pop for most of those. That was great. What I will say is, though, the defeat 2 Team Go Rocket grunts was my least favorite task.
Not appreciated.
I tossed those because who's doing that?
I mean, not on Community Day. If it gave a proper reward, it'd be fine. But
yeah, it gave a mysterious component, and when it wasn't Community Day, I did it.
That's a great task. Like,
that is a great task, but not during Community Day. At least not for me.
Yeah.
But it was a good event for sure. But 3 out of 4 for me as well, which means that we've got yay old tie. So Yahoo. But let's talk a little bit more about Noibat Community Day, but let's do it in the news section. Yo, what up? It's the news. Okay, so first and foremost, it was Noibat Community Day this past weekend. You heard a little bit about our experiences and our numbers here. But Kyle, I am curious if you're aware of how much XL candy you walked away with, because this one was a great one for me. I got like over 1,000.
Oh, I did not. I can check. I probably got 200 because I didn't do a lot of catching. I also haven't transferred them, but again, didn't catch a lot, so I'm not going to have that many after transferring. But I will check in just a moment. But 200 sounds about right.
Oh, you know what? I made a big mistake here, and hopefully other people were smarter than I am, and you can also be smarter than me, Kyle. When we finish this global task of gift sending, then do your transfers, because you're going to get a transfer bonus.
Yeah, that's
for
fair.
Valentine's. I didn't even consider that. Oh, I messed up.
I've sent a whole 20 gifts, by the way, just to sidetrack.
Me too.
I'm out of gifts, and I haven't. I'm out of gifts, and I haven't left the house, so waiting for my buddy to bring me a couple.
Same problem, same thought pattern. I'm waiting for my buddy to bring me a couple.
I got 150 XL, so probably more like 135 because I probably had a couple from hatching a few.
Did you mega anything or no?
My Charizard is not Mega 3, so no. I mean, I mega the Charizard, but it didn't have the Mega 3 bonus.
Gotcha. Okay, I did have a Mega 3 Charizard. That's probably why I walked away with like 1,000 after transferring.
Yeah, that's what happened with me when it was Litwick Day. I don't know, 1,200 or something.
I'm convinced, by the way, that I did not do that right. I think I messed it up, and that's why I had such low numbers the other time when you were like, "Oh, you megaed something, you were that unlucky." I think I was just doing it wrong. But anyway, spawn density was exceptional where I was, and now that we've had a couple of events like this, we're in a Larvitar Community Day Classic and now Noibat Community Day, where the XXL and XXS versions are out. I walked away with about 3 or 4 of each again. So it seems to be pretty consistent based on how much you're catching, because I kind of went similarly for both of those events. Did you have any luck with those? Did you like?
I had 2 small, 1 large.
Oh, okay.
So I'd say it's pretty on par. I did not just want to emphasize, I did not catch that many. So I think that's pretty similar to what it was for Larvitar for me.
Yeah, I think it was too. But yeah, spawn density was fantastic, and there's really nothing else to say about that. I do think, by the way, the push notification, and I should have confirmed this before the show, maybe you know the answer, but the 4-star raids that happened after the event, I remember in the original event post, it was Noibat, right? And we were like, oh, it's the first stage, and that's going to be interesting, right? And then the push notification on the day said Noivern.
So I didn't see that.
You know, I never stick around for them because I play really hard for 3 hours and then go home, and that's enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have confirmation which one it was, and now I'm so curious.
It was Noibat, and I only know because people posted online that you could solo it.
Oh, okay. So that was my next question. You could solo it. That was
people both soloed it with a regular team. I saw 635 Mamoswines do it.
Oh,
and then someone else soloed it with a level 50 Latios, Mega Latios.
Oh. Hey, excellent. Okay.
So, and it was generous. I don't recall off the top of my head, but like 40 seconds left or something like that. So very reasonable. It'd probably be much nicer if you could do this for everyone, but whatever.
Yes, it would be. But yeah, not Noivern, despite the push notification. Very strange. Very, very strange. But yeah, that's it for Noibat Community Day. All of us here at GOCast hope that you had a very successful Community Day and that you remembered which day it was on, because that was a big thing for some people. Okay, speaking of Community Days, our first piece of real news this week is save the dates for next season's Community Days and more, which is cool. Trainers, now that the final Community Day of Season 9 Mythical Wishes is behind us, we'd like to share next season's Community Day dates. In March, it's going to be on March 18th. It's a Saturday. April is a Saturday, April 15th. April, again, for a Community Day Classic, will be a Saturday, April 29th. And then in May, we're looking at a Sunday, May 21. I am predicting that we will have a similar level of confusion come May, which day the event is on, like we did for Noibat. Probably. I don't know why they don't alternate anymore.
I'm okay with them not alternating.
No, I'm sure for you specifically, but I think, when we were both talking about it before, we were like, oh, it makes sense that it alternates to give other people opportunities, right? But it creates this other strange issue of people forgetting what day the event is on, because it's always, air quotes, on Saturdays for like 2.5 months, and then all of a sudden a Sunday.
I wonder if they've seen the numbers, and in general Sundays have less participation, just maybe not a major amount, but enough that it's like, we don't want to do all of these on Sunday, but we want to throw a bone every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Or maybe they put like what they would consider the high value out of that grouping on the Sunday to inspire people to come out on that Sunday. Who knows?
So, Rio, before we move on, what do we want to predict for Community Day Classic right now?
Okay. Do you want me to give you the answer of what I want it to be, or what I think it's going to be, or both?
Both, but what you think it's going to be is the real question.
That's a really good question for sure, because we've had all the Kanto starters. We've had Charmander 3 times. I don't think we're going to have that again. They
haven't rerun Squirtle, but
we did. We had the sunglasses came back for that one event, right? So
yeah, but it wasn't a classic.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Just saying, it's an option.
I'm misremembering. Not Bagon. No, man, I don't know. This is such a tough one. I want it to be Cyndaquil. That's my answer, though, because I need Cyndaquil XL candy, and I want a Hundo so bad.
Is it weird that, like, I feel like it's gonna be Trapinch?
That's probably not a bad guess.
I don't know why. It doesn't seem like Bagon or Beldum time, because we just got Larvitar. So I feel like it's going to be one of those that doesn't spawn a whole lot, so it has just enough excuse to be brought back. But that said, every one so far has been relevant. But again, that's just correlation. It doesn't have to be the standard.
Or mega-able too. Larvitar will be mega-able. And, if we had some indication that mega Metagross was coming soon, then maybe I'd be inclined to say Beldam, but we have no idea when that's going to happen.
I think, this is my guess, is it's going to be Charmander. I think we'll have
Are you
Charmander
serious?
Classic. Yeah, I'm not actually joking.
Fourth run of Charmander.
We haven't had a classic Charmander. We've only had classic Bulbasaur. And then we had 2 regular Charmanders, obviously.
We had 2 regular Charmanders. We didn't have a third event for Charmander.
No, there was not. The Community Classics so far have been Bulbasaur, Mudkip, I can't remember the one after Mudkip, and Larvitar. I can't remember. It's escaping me right now.
It's also escaping me. I can't remember. I don't think it was a particularly engaging one.
Yeah. So, and we've only had them once per season, and we've only been doing this for a year. So, yeah.
Maybe you're right.
I think Charmander.
Okay. I mean, I would actually be all right with that. I really do quite like catching Charmander, and Shiny Charizard's incredible. So, yeah. But other than community days, there are other events on the horizon. So says the article here. Here are the dates for additional in-game events coming next season. Sunday, March 5th, Saturday, March 11th, Sunday, April 9th, Sunday, April 23rd, Saturday, May 27th to Sunday, May 28th as well. So mark your calendars for those, and I anticipate we'll get more information as the season begins and unfolds. Exciting stuff. Also, some of these dates happen to coincide with our meetup this year for the show.
Yes.
And last year we got really lucky because during our Mall of America meetup, it was Alolan Geodude Community Day. And it was great. It was such a cool place to play.
So also, just to backpedal a little bit, it was Dratini.
Oh, Dratini,
which is actually noteworthy.
Yeah, that is noteworthy, isn't it? Wow. We couldn't have forgotten another one. Oh, well. But yeah, save those dates, trainers. And then our next piece of news here, our last piece of news, is catch Pokemon with location cards at Pokemon Go Tour Hoenn, Las Vegas. Trainers, we're excited to announce a new feature that will make its first appearance during Pokemon Go Tour Hoenn, Las Vegas, location cards. After catching certain Pokemon from in-person raid battles at specific locations during Go Tour Hoenn, Las Vegas, trainers will have a chance to receive a location card. These souvenir backgrounds will appear on the Pokemon's summary page, showing where the Pokemon was caught. And there's some more information in this article, but it's largely redundant to this initial paragraph, which is supposed to serve as a summary for the article, but it's a short one to begin with. But rest assured, there is not an actual image to be shown to us in that article, nor are there any actual real details being shared outside of this. This is really conceptual from what they've decided to share with us, right? And so now Kyle and I are going to just speculate because they've literally given us nothing else to do with it.
Literally nothing.
So in your mind's eye, Kyle, how do you think this feature works? How do you think it looks? And oh my gosh, Siri's just trying to get our conversation over here. So what are your thoughts on it? And just generally, like, the feel of it, all that sort of stuff.
Conceptually, it's fun. Like it's just another addition. We already have tags at the bottom of Pokemon that are caught at different events. Yeah. And that was really great when they added it. This could be cool. It's kind of weird to roll it out on a limited access event in person. What I'd really find interesting is if it showed up at like the back at the top where the background of a typing usually is.
Yeah.
That'd be wild. So you always see it versus having to scroll all the way down. That said, I could see people complaining, hey, I don't want this blocking my view. I don't know. It's also only from raids, in-person raids.
In-person raids. That's right. So yeah, this won't apply to like the Chimchar, Torchic that you caught in the wild. This will apply to probably your Groudon from a primal raid that you did at this event. So yeah, I think what you're describing is kind of how it has to manifest in the game. Other than that, it would be rather disruptive and unnecessary. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think this is fun, but you and I were talking briefly before the show started about how it just serves to kind of make anybody who's not going feel like they're missing out even more. And while I would appreciate this move from a marketing perspective, I would only appreciate it if the tickets hadn't been sold out for like over a week already.
Longer than that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Like they've been sold out for 2 or 3 weeks. And
So
also travel and stuff like that. So
I feel like from an optics perspective, if your tickets are sold out, the need for FOMO was kind of gone until the event is over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It only serves to be slightly divisive. Although I'm sure the numbers speak differently because social media is not always, let's just say success on social media is not always paved with good intentions. Who knows? But
I think the real big takeaway is you didn't need to add this feature to the specific event. If it wasn't ready when you had the event ready to announce, I feel like you should have just left it off. Nobody would have known.
Yeah.
But another alternative Chris and I talked about right before we started recording was give a little tidbit of something you're going to offer for the global event to counteract. Like just show a counterpart. Final line, we have other stuff in store for you to see when global Hoenn Tour gets started.
Right.
Something, anything.
Or stay tuned to see how you can use this feature in a future event, you know, something. It doesn't have to be specific, like anything. Because that would still serve to give FOMO for people that weren't or that aren't at the event. Oh, I'm not going to be the first person to use it. That's good enough, you know?
Yeah.
But what do we know?
I think the big takeaway for me is there's already an incentive to go to Las Vegas, to go to the event. It's kind of weird to have more. Maybe that's just me. Again, I'm not going, but that this is not like something that's making me feel bad that I'm not going. It's the fact that the event's there.
Yeah. Plus also, like, you know, when I get it, I'm going to send you a picture. Like, what do you think?
And I'm going to be like, well, I have a picture of it now.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Which, to clarify really quick, I've seen some people ask on social media and emails and stuff like that. So I'll say it earlier in the show. When it comes to Hoenn Tour Las Vegas, Kyle is not attending. I am attending. So if you want to meet up with us, I'll be your option. There will be other options in the future. This is literally an outlier when it comes to in-person events for us. We are usually at this stuff. But the way the cards fell this time, there's just the one. That said, I will have like 50 pins on me. So if you want a GOCast pin, come and find me. I'll do my best to try to remember to tweet a picture of me so you know what I look like at the beginning of the event. So follow us on Twitter if you want a little sneak peek heads up on what I look like so you can find one and get a free pin. Okay, that's enough of that. Looking forward to Las Vegas, but not for the location cards. That'll be a nice bonus, but okay, that's it for news. And while we didn't have a lot of news, we do have a ton of emails and voicemails for later on in the show. And so we are choosing to skip over Gear Up this week. I don't know, Kyle. Tapu Lele, what type should people bring?
Well, Tapu Lele is Psychic Fairy, so Ghost, Poison, Steel. And that's it. And the choices are obvious. Stuff like Gengar is very good. Metagross tops all of the charts, especially Shadow Metagross. So
there you go. There's your micro Gear Up segment, y'all. Okay, that means we're going to go into Pokelore. And this week, we're going to be, it might be a revisit, but I don't really think so. We're going to be visiting the Pokedex entry. It's got to be right because we were pretty hyped when it came out. For Frillish and Jellicent, the floating Pokemon, they share a category, and my brain loves that for some reason. But first up is Frillish. Frillish is a jellyfish-like Pokemon resembling young royalty. Jellyfish-like. That's a new evolution of fish-like for us. Regardless of gender, it has a round head with a crown-like tuft, a 5 tentacle like appendages, 2 serving as arms, and 3 as the lower half of its body. It has oval eyes with white pupils and a collar around its neck. It has invisible poison spikes on its appendages. Invisible. As a male, it is blue with smooth appendages and a triangular crown. It has red eyes with blue sclera and a straight eyelash on each eye. Its collar is wavy and it appears to be frowning. But in the anime, it is shown to smile rarely. As a female, it is pink with wavy appendages and a round crown. It has blue eyes with red sclera and a curled eyelash on each eye. Its collar is frilled and it appears to be smiling. Female frillish have slightly longer stingers, while male frillish have bigger collars. Frillish is a hadopelagic. I know it's from the Hadal region. This is what they're going for here. So it's hadopelagic. I think that's right. Pokemon, which lives in dens about 5 miles or 8 kilometers under the sea's surface. Because of this, it can cope with extremely dark and highly pressurized sea conditions. It is carnivorous, gently floats around in waves until it can strike its prey. It makes its victim numb with the use of its poison spikes and takes it to its deep den. Its arms are filled with tens of thousands of poisonous stingers. There is a legend where frillish are said to have been created from transformed residents of a sunken ancient city.
What?
Just throw that sentence in there. Let's just do that. Frillish preys on Magikarp and Lantern. Yep. Oh, by the way, dude, I've seen some people on social. Lantern's not a dolphin. Lantern's an anglerfish, guys.
What? Someone saying it's a dolphin?
I don't know. It was.
We have a dolphin Pokemon now, guys.
We do. I think somebody was just making a funny, maybe for tweets and retweets, whatever the kids are into nowadays. But yeah. So Frillish is pretty cool. Any thoughts on Frillish before we move on to Jellicent, which is just as good as this, but better?
I mean, I like Frillish. That said, it's backcountry. It's literally just a jellyfish. It's described it almost exactly.
Yeah. All
down
the
to the
reasons,
invisible
too.
stingers. So
Right. You're right. Jellyfish-like. All right, Jellicent. Jellicent is a large jellyfish-like Pokemon, there we go again, whose appearance varies based on gender. Both genders have 5 tentacles, 2 of which are long with petal-shaped ends. The remaining 3 are short and tapered. A male is blue with a short white crown and a white mustache-like collar. Its eyes are red with blue sclera, and there is 1 eyelash over each eye. Its long tentacles have white edges, while its short tentacles have white spots. A female is pink, with a tall white crown and a puffy white collar. Its eyes are blue with red sclera and surrounded by 2 eyelashes. Its mouth is red and heart-shaped. The long tentacles have white edges like the male, but the short ones have white frills. Jellicent can absorb seawater and project it from its head, which lets it move forward in the sea. Jellyfish's body composition is similar to seawater. Schools of Jellicent are known to gather for prey during a full moon. Any fancy cruise ships, tankers, or crew that wander into the oceans where it dwells are never found again, and it is rumored that it drags these ships or tankers into the sea and preys on its passengers. It can create lairs from sunken ships. It is known to feed on life energy, where the more it drains, the bigger its crown gets. Jellicent are highly feared by fishermen. People that fish professionally. Fishers doesn't sound right to me. That's not the right plural of that, right? I don't know. It's certainly gender neutral, but I don't know if it's the right term.
It must be. Maybe it's a word that's just not used as much.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of a scary Pokemon. A bunch of them just dragging your cruise ship to the bottom of the ocean, and then they suck the life energy from you. Brilliant.
It's funny they gave a Kraken Pokedex entry to this jellyfish.
They did. They sure did. I like that they implied that it takes a big group of them, though. That's nice.
Yeah. I really want to see like a Jellicent with a massive crown, because every single Jellicent out there, like even in the animated stuff, has a little itty bitty crown.
That's true.
So clearly, it's not feeding on enough life energy.
Guess not. That's what he gets for hanging out at the bottom of the ocean more often than not, I suppose. Slim pickings. Some stats for Jellicent. Max CP at 40 is 2338. At 50, you're looking at 2644. 225 stamina, 178 defense, and 159 attack. Best moveset is Bubble or Hex with Bubble Beam and Shadow Ball. You're going to be wanting to use this Pokemon almost exclusively for PvP. There really is not a PvE application for Jellicent, but it's good.
Did Jellicent suffer from some nerfs at some point? I swore it was higher ranked than it is currently on PvPoke.
Yeah, it was really highly ranked for sure. If it's not anymore, that's also news to me.
Yeah,
maybe
did they change Bubble Beam? Did Bubble Beam get changed tonight? And I don't know it because that's
not
probably
that I'm
happened.
aware of.
But it's currently 186 in Ultra League as XL, of course, and Great League it's 146.
Wow,
I'm sure that Fish and DeFi are going to listen to this and immediately text us in our group chat saying, "Guys, it was like 8 months ago. Come on."
It's possible, but at the same time, I hope they're proud of us for kind of remembering that it was good at one point in time. You know, we take what we can get here at GOCast. But that's Frillish and Jellicent. So yeah, that means that Pokelore is over and we're heading into Pokepoll.
Last week's Pokepoll was, other than rating, do you regularly interact with gyms in Pokemon Go? If so, what are you doing and why? First response from Boris, and they said, my home portal is a gym, so I interact with it mostly as a Pokestop spinning. I also try to control it at least 8 hours a day for the coins, but that turns into 5 days of control often, as not many other teams try and take it. I feel that.
Yeah.
If they do, I let them control it for at least 8 hours too, so they get their coins. Raids don't happen much on the portal. It's not in a popular section of the city. So I mostly do an easy raid a day with the free pass. But to be honest, skip those more days than I do them. Yeah, that's also fair. This all checks out to when I lived on a gym. So
this is the experience. Not all it's cracked up to be, huh?
No. I mean, having the stop to constantly spin is insane. But still.
Sure.
Next response from Maxotron. They said, my interaction with gyms is mostly burning all blue and yellow gyms down.
Let's go.
And then holding some secret gyms for as long as I can. If I lose one of those secret gyms, I go and take it back as soon as possible. Usually that involves a hike after a long country road drive. So it's pretty enjoyable in our 80-degree Florida winter microclimate. It was like negative degrees this last week over here. So
yeah, there was a day that it was in the negatives until 3 p.m. or whatever it was.
Other times it takes snorkeling out to an island with your phone above your head. Gym defenders ain't what they used to be, though, and I do wish they'd ease up on being able to add legendaries to gyms.
Okay, well,
Maxotron with the dedication to the
snorkeling.
Gym defense. Oh my gosh.
That's too much for me. You won't catch me doing that. No, thank you.
Next response is from Grady F, and they said, I have a gym in my parking lot at work, so I do have it gold, and I do attack it and try to keep Pokemon in it daily for my 50 coins. Literally the only gym I interact with for actually battling the gym. But if I do it every day for a week, I get 3 remote raid passes, which is worth it to me. That's fair. No arguments there, especially when it's conveniently located.
I agree. I still just don't.
I personally can't do it, but yeah.
Yeah, but if you are strictly a free to play player, then that makes a lot more sense why that is an important point,
Next response from Noel via Spotify. They said, yes, I do. I drop a Pokemon when available or take it down if it's relatively easy to take down. Mostly on my route to work to level up the gyms to golden level as to receive a ton more items from them. Let me tell you, people who gold gyms are another level.
Yes, they are.
I remember the first time that I read somebody complain that they couldn't keep more than 1,000 gold gyms on their list, and I'm like, what?
I think it's less than that, isn't it? Like 100?
No, it's 1,000.
Is it? Okay, that is ridiculous.
The game remembers 1,000. I do know that.
That is ridiculous.
And I'm just like, I think I have three gold gyms. And like, there's some more that I could get to gold if I actually put the effort in, but no, my God.
I've got 13.
Mad respect. You have 14?
13.
Yeah, well, I'm sure 11 of those are in the same park.
They are. Let me tell you, though, Old Woodstock Theater, Woodstock Square Bandstand, Woodstock Water Tower, the Post Office, Emerson Park South, still silver, I'll have you know.
Oh, my God.
It's because I'm a bad Pokemon Go player, Kyle.
Yeah, me too. It's okay. The next response came in the form of an email, and I swear I'll mispronounce this, but Desmodius?
I think it's Desmodus.
Desmodus, but Desmoduse? I feel like the E.
That's what we said last time. We're like, is it Desmoduse? I'm not entirely sure.
It's so bad every time.
Yo, Desmo, send us another email and clarify. We don't want to get your name wrong no more.
As a free-to-play player without a group of friends who play or the time to go out and make new Go friends, gym coins are my only access to raids. Also, not going to apologize for knocking anyone out of a gym, no matter how short they've been there. This is a game, so let's play it. Hashtag this gym just turned red.
If it ain't red, it's dead.
All right. Our last response also in the form of an email from Jenna. They said, "Hi, Chris and Kyle. I was saddened to hear that you both don't prioritize gyms when you play. My name is Jenna, and I only play Pokemon Go for gyms. I love MMOs and met my boyfriend 10 years ago when playing an MMO. He and I were in the same guild back in the day, and nowadays he and I are in the same Pokemon Go guild as well. Team Valor is the best guild.
True.
My favorite part of guild versus guild warfare is battling Team Mystic players who, in real time, feed golden raspberries to their gym defenders when they know I'm trying to kick them out. Also, creating themed gyms is really fun. A gym with all evolutions or all green shinies is cool to see. One time, I remember spotting a gym full of 3-headed Pokemon. That's actually very funny.
That's
Hydreigon, Dugtrio, Executor.
Oh man, you're on a roll. I don't think I could have even named that many off. Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh no, I can't think.
That's it. No, I'm already impressed. I was impressed 2 ago. Like I.
Oh man, I have to get back to this. Anyways, sometimes you can even create alliances with the other 2 teams. That means my boyfriend and I are able to leave our Pokemon in a gym overnight before someone from Mystic or Instinct kicks it out, and vice versa.
Cling.
Hey, Cling.
There we go. All right, sorry.
And vice versa. We let the other 2 teams stay overnight as well. Then everyone is guaranteed our 50 max Pokecoins per day. Thank you for all the hard work you put in making a great show every week. I love listening to you on my long drive, Jenna. Oh, I only got one thing to say.
Okay.
Anything goes in guild versus guild warfare.
True. Letting
someone stay in overnight's not very MMO PvP of you.
But it is very cash money of you. So
and it's very Pokemon Go of you for sure.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. So
one thing I will say is that as we've heard people call in, complain, talk about it, bring it up about like local cultures around gym control, the more often I hear about it, the less I like it.
Yeah.
Because it usually ends up with somebody who's not part of that community getting bullied and having a bad time. So I will say with a caveat, as long as that's not happening, I think that this unspoken rule is that's cool, honor amongst thieves sort of thing. But if somebody kicks you out, like our previous response said, that's the game, that's just how it works. So I'm hoping that everybody's on board because that sounds awesome if that's the case. 3-headed Pokemon. What else could there be? We only named. Well, no, we did name 5, didn't we?
We named 5. Is there a 6th? Oh man,
not that I can think of.
We'll think about it later. I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll happen. Does Spiritomb count?
No, I don't.
151 or whatever it souls
108.
108. Thank you. Cool.
Anyways, for this week's Pokepoll, we have: what has been your most underwhelming or disappointing catch of all time? This is really hard for me to answer.
Oh, okay.
Do you have one?
I think I have to double check what the numbers are now that I'm thinking of it. I can tell. In the meantime, I'll throw you a bone though. It's Pidgey Spotlight Hour. Look at that.
Yep.
My Shadow Registeel has 15 attack, Kyle. He's got 15 attack, 12 defense, and 10 HP. I'm so upset about that.
That is pretty funny. And scrolling through some older Pokemon stuff, I think I have to go with when I caught a shiny Aeron on my way to the bar for the Maripup in 2019. It was 2019. Yeah, that was supreme. That was already my sixth one, and it was very disappointing.
I've got
my soul cries.
I wasn't sure if it was my shiny or not, but my Mew from 2018 is 10 10 10.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I remember that.
Geez. So, anything else besides your Aeron? Because that's a good one. I remember that one.
Nope. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Well, dear listener, those are a couple of examples. Bonus points if you provide a little bit of a story, some context. That'd be fun too. But if you have an answer to this week's Pokepoll question, which was, once again, what has been your most underwhelming or disappointing catch of all time? Please feel free to respond to the question when it's posted on Twitter. Send us an email to mail@gocastpodcast.com. Send us a voicemail by calling 262-586-7717. You can also respond if you're a patron in our patron-exclusive Discord in the channel for Pokepoll. And YouTube comments as well in the video version. And I think lastly, I'm hoping I'm not missing any of these. I should make a list for reference, but it's kind of fun to remember every single week. A little bit of a brain teaser. If it's on Spotify and you're listening there, the Q&A question is also a place that you can submit your answer as well. But enough about all of that good stuff. We're actually going to pass it on over to Fish and DeFi for this week's PvP Corner segment. They're going to give you an update on, the Play Pokemon events. We just had the Orlando Regional this past weekend. I watched a little bit of it. It was very hype. And a bunch of other stuff as always. Over to the two of you.
Hi, I'm Fish on Ahita.
And I'm DeFi 250.
And this is PvP Corner, the PvP segment that has just moved in from the Hoenn region. DeFi, what's going on in PvP?
Well, for me personally, I'm really excited. I hit Veteran during this most recent meta cycle with the Open Ultra League and Ultra League Premier. Let me tell you, Fish, people are not prepared for a Charmer in the back. I'm not running Double Charm. I only have Sylveon. But I think people forgot how good it is because it was nerfed a little bit. So I had a pretty solid run going up from about 2,300 to 2,500 in Ultra League Premier this week.
Yeah, so first of all, congratulations on making bet. And second, yeah, I totally agree. Like, all the time, a Pokemon will get a nerf between seasons, and it'll be just a very minor nerf, something to just cut off the corner of its dominance. And the greater community just kind of goes, oh, well, this is useless now. But no, Charm, Walrein, even Nidoqueen, they're still almost as good. And yeah, it's a lot of people have just forgotten about it and are now unprepared for it, like you have discovered yourself.
Yeah, so do you have any other notes from your time in Ultra League and Ultra League Premier for the week?
Yeah, I'm playing around with teams. I'm doing what I used to do in previous seasons where I would just be unable to break out of this zone of about 1 to 200 elos. So I just keep getting up to almost 2,400 and then falling back below 2,300. Those days early on in the season when I was at 2,700 seems so far away. But right now I'm using a team of Dragonite lead, Shadow Dragonite lead, Samurott as a pivot, and Aurorus as my closer.
Ooh, Aurorus is fun.
It is, yeah. I was initially just so worried about how weak it is to counter, but not only has it been pretty easy to avoid the counter users, but there has been a couple of situations where I've managed to close out a battle against a Machamp by double weatherballing it, or I also took out an Obstagoon by meteor beaming it at the end of the battle. So yeah, as long as you can manage your energy well and burn your opponent's shields, you can close that out.
Awesome. Well, let's move on here. If you want to continue in the Ultra League, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, down in the Great League, we have the Love Cup. And the Love Cup is a great league meta where you run only pink and red Pokemon. And this is based on their official Pokemon colorings. They have a page on the blog with those details, or you can go to PB Poke, like I did, and take a look at the top 10 species, which we have XL Medicham, Shadow and Regular Charizard, Lickitung, Ariados, Alomomola, Scrafty, Lurantis, Seaking, Magcargo, and Galarian Slowbro. So some very different Pokemon getting the spotlight. What have you discovered, Fish? Because I know that Pallet Town puts out these phenomenal, very long deep dives and then also a meta in 5 minutes. What did you gather in your research on the Love Cup?
Well, I describe it as it's a polarized meta, which I've always disliked about a meta when, things will either lose hard or win hard and there's not too much play in between. But it's also a chance to use some Pokemon that I think are really fun. It's one of the most fun metas I have seen. So I don't mind how polarized it can be. The Pokemon at the top are things like Alomomola, which, will absolutely wall any fire types and can hang in there with some electric types, has absolutely nothing against the grass types. Ariados is going to be absolutely huge. Medicham is going to be a huge one. Galarian Slowbro is one of my favorites, but also take a look at Kanto Slowbro because that is a good one that can break a core of Alomomola and Charizard, as well as beating the Medicham quite handily. It does struggle against Scrafty, though, which is the other most popular counter user. Have you got any thoughts about the meta?
Not quite yet. I'm still thinking about what I want to use. I don't think I've ever built an Ariados, and I know I don't have a Galarian Slowbro, so Poison might be a little tough for me to use. I might have to rely on some other typings. For example, like I definitely have a Medicham. It's not red or pink. My Medicham is shiny. It's blue, but I can still use it. The shiny or not doesn't matter. And I just remember really liking Alomomola just because it is so bulky and you can do a lot of damage with Waterfall.
And the grass types in this meta are pretty hard to use because most of the grass types just have no play against the fires or the poisons and bugs, which there are so many of those around. Lurantis can hit back against Magcargo specifically because of the superpower and neutral leaf blades, but it's a tough one. The only other exception is Hisuian Electrode, which came in at the end of the meta last year, so it didn't get much use, but it's got some play here. Obviously, it's going to hate the Ariados, but it is something that can beat the all-important Alomomola and Charizard core, or just Water and Charizard core, and it beats them very handily. What we discovered was that it gets to 2 wild charges quicker than what a Charizard can get to a Blast Burn and a Dragon Claw, which means that if they do bait you successfully, you can still get to that second wild charge.
Very cool. So maybe I'll just have to try that Alomomola Charizard core and see how it goes. My Charizard will be a regular one, but Charizard just seems too good right now. Like it's having its moment in the limelight. I feel like if you're going to use it, this is the time.
Do you think it's possible that they re-nerf Wing Attack, seeing how much of a difference it's made this season?
I doubt it. I think they would just alter other moves in the meta. Maybe give, rock types another little moment or give electric types. We haven't seen a really good electric meta in a while. Ampharos. Butters and his Ampharos. Just gotta see the day.
I hope that they don't buff other stuff to counter this, because like I think the game's already suffering from a little bit of power creep, which for those who haven't heard that term before, refers to something that happens in games like this where things just get more and more and more powerful to try and rebalance things, and it ends up, stuff that was really good before is now mediocre and then becomes terrible, and then you just have to make numbers higher and higher in order to get new good stuff in the game.
We'll have to see. I'm sure they usually have just as many buffs to moves as they do nerfs when those move updates come out, so we'll just have to see. Next season is fast approaching. You know what else is fast approaching? Go Battle Day! We have Go Battle Day with a Vulpix spotlight. Vulpix is definitely enjoying some spotlight as well. So on Sunday, February 12th, you have your standard bonuses, standard 24 hours of Go Battle Day, timed research. You get your 100 battles or 20 sets. Also, though, you can evolve a Kanto Vulpix to get a Ninetales with Ember as a fast attack. That Shadow Kanto Ninetales with Ember was what was popularized by Cindy, the Vancouver champion of last season of Play Pokemon. And Ninetales, I still think, gets a lot of love in Go Battle League as well as in the Play Pokemon circuit. Also to note, just from 11 to 2 local time, so not the entire event, just that 11 to 2, just that 3 hours, you can get Vulpix. It's featured in the Go Battle League reward. So if you don't have a Vulpix that you want to evolve into a Ninetales, that would be a really good opportunity. If you use one of your battle passes, let's say you're not a big raider, every single encounter that you'll get for that set will be a Vulpix.
So you can evolve your Vulpix at any point during the day, but the Vulpix will only be an encounter reward from 11 to 2. Is that right?
If I am reading the copy correctly, that is my understanding.
Okay, cool. Next up, we have from February 16 to 23, Open Master League and Master League Premier. It is Master League level 50 without any legendaries, mythicals, or ultra beasts. This is, like we have joked about it before, about this is rest time for Fish and DeFi. Genuinely, honestly, I can't see myself playing that week.
I'm kind of the same, but for those of you who are interested in Master League, especially Premier, so maybe you haven't gotten the XL candies to max out your Dialga or some of your other legendaries, there are other options that are a little bit more attainable. So your Master League Premier top 10, Shadow and Regular Dragonite, Florges, which is featured right now in the Valentine's event with Flabebe.
I'm so happy about that, by the way.
Me too. You also, and coming in third is Snorlax, but that has both Shadow and Regular. Gyarados, Shadow and Regular. Garchomp, Metagross, Ursaluna, Shadow and Regular, Mamosine, Shadow and Regular, Excadrill, and Hisuian Avalugg. So a lot of these Pokemon are featured pretty regularly. Flabebe, you can get candy for right now. Magikarp had a community day, so you might have a lot of candy for Magikarp. It's also a 1 kilometer buddy, so pretty easy to get XL candy for a Gyarados. Garchomp had a community day, so I have a level 50 Garchomp. Metagross, I believe, had a feature pretty recently. Ursaluna had a community day not too long ago. If you're in the northern hemisphere, it has been winter, so Swinub has been all over the place. I can max out a Mamoswine, and I'm not Master League focused, but I do have the XL candy to be able to do that. And Hisuian Avalugg had a raid day, so you might have a good handful of Avalugg candy. Also, Northern Hemisphere, it's been winter. Lots of Bergmites out there. I just really want to state that this is a lot more accessible out of the two, in my personal opinion, because I haven't spent the crazy amount of money it would take to XL a Dialga or to XL any of the legendaries in Open Master League, or I could not level 50 a Mewtwo right now if I needed to.
Yeah, same for me. It's like I have no problem with the Master League meta. I know a lot of people will complain about, oh yeah, Master League's terrible. Like we aren't those people. We enjoy that meta as much as any meta, but it's just literally we don't have the resources ourselves. We don't grind enough. But that will change eventually.
Yeah, there are Pokemon I would love during the Hoenn Tour coming up. I'd love to be able to work on my 100% Groudon to be able to level 50 that. Groudon with Mudshot, Earthquake, Fire Punch, and then the Primal Groudon will be very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Lugia, I would love to be able to do. Giratina, Kyurem. There's so many awesome Master League Pokemon. Just to continue shouting out Premier, I'm not sure. Fish, are you going to do a Master League Premier dive for Pallet Town, do you think?
We will, but it will be a pretty condensed one because it is pretty much the same thing as what Premier Classic was, just 10 levels higher.
Okay.
So we do have a video on that already on the Pallet Town PvP YouTube channel.
Awesome. I was just going to shout out that there are even more Pokemon. They're not the top 10 species necessarily, but for example, Swampert. Swampert gets featured a lot, and that's something you can use in Master Premier. Hydreigon, Dino just had a community day. Many people can probably XL Hydreigon. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Chestnut is quite good, and you could XL level 50 at Chestnut probably. We just had Chespin Day not too long ago. Machop is often featured. Togekiss, I have a lot of XL candy from hatching eggs. Walrein had its community day. There are options up here. Vaporeon is number 38 in the PV Poke rankings. I can definitely level 50 in Eevee right now. Whether it would turn into a Vaporeon, that's the question. That's the dice roll.
The other problem. So we normally stop there with the GBL section, but since it's pretty much the end of the season, we thought we'd cover the very last cup of the season, which is Master League Mega Edition and Hoenn Cup in the Great League. So the Open Master League, just like the regular one, just with Mega Evolved Pokemon allowed. We have talked about in episodes gone by, things like Mega Gyarados is huge, Mega Swampert is going to be a big one, Mega Blaziken has a lot of play, the Mega Charizards as well. There's a lot of really nice options there.
I agree. It'll definitely shake things up. Paired with Master League Megas, we also have the Hoenn Cup Great League Edition because this will happen around the same time as Hoenn Tour. It's really interesting because a lot of the Pokemon that we think of as the best Pokemon in competitive Pokemon Go are from the Hoenn region. I made a short list of Registeel, Medicham, Swampert, Pelipper, Altaria, and Sableye would probably be some of your big ones. But even some of the slightly lesser ones, Wishcash, Vigoroth, Defense Deoxys, Castform in all of its forms, Tropius, Shiftry, all have really good play. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this meta shakes out. And specifically the Hoenn Cup, it's Pokedex 252 to 386. So anything with those Pokedex numbers, so any kind of regional variations would be included in this.
Yeah, I get the sense that this will be a lot more open and fluid than what, say, Sinnoh and Hisui Cup were. If you don't remember those cups, it was basically Bastiodon, Toxicroak, and Drifblim. And it's like, if you had your Drifblim against the opposing Toxicroak, then you were absolutely winning every time, 10 times out of 10. If your Bastiodon was against a Drifblim, then the Bastiodon was winning every single time. And yeah, just that RPS, rock, paper, scissors kind of meta. Yeah, so this doesn't seem like that just looking at the eligible Pokemon. I can't wait to see if that is indeed the case.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Moving on, our Sylph check-in and Naiad Cup is underway. Just taking a look at some of the usage. So I predicted at the start that the big four would be Jellicent, Altaria, Greedent, and Mew. Of those four, 3 have proven very popular. Jellicent, a lot less popular than expected. It's only currently on 8% of teams. The two surprise packets for me have been Galvantula, which beats all of those except for the Altaria, and Walrein, which obviously will crush the Altaria, but also has plenty of neutral play against a lot of that other stuff. Even the Galvantula that is really popular, like, it can't take two Icicle Spheres, so you can build up energy and take out the Galvantula in the late game.
I played in 2 early tournaments, or I'm playing in 2 tournaments that started really early. So I don't have a lot of battles under my belt in Naiad Cup yet. However, I did pick 2 very spicy Pokemon, and I'm not sure about my feelings. I picked Lugia because I do like that it beats both Altaria and Greedent. So I listened to you, Fish, and I picked that one up. I'm not sure, though, because it's glassier than I thought it was. You wouldn't think so, because like in your head, it's like this huge, giant legendary, but it is just made of paper. And then the other Pokemon I went for was Buzzwole, because there are so many normal types in the meta and there's not a ton of counter users. So I thought Buzzwole might be interesting. It's a little bit more popular. I think I would have preferred a Scavalier, though, if I had to pick between the 2 counter users. Generally, I prefer a Scavalier up in the Ultra League, where it has a bit more bulk to it and it can tank another hit. So I think the main thing here is I picked 2 very glassy, kind of spicy Pokemon, and I'm having some second thoughts.
Yeah. Buzzwole does just as poorly against Altaria as a Scavalier would, so you're not getting any advantage or really disadvantage there. Obviously, the double weakness to flying means that the Altaria and also, a Lugia would be able to one-shot it, which means it is a bit shield hungry. The Lugia, I went through the same thing as you, just because Galvantula and Walrein were both more popular than I expected. It kind of meant that it became a little bit hostile for Lugia to have as much play. And, like, those wins against Altaria and Greedent, they're not comfortable wins. Like, both of those Pokemon can play around that pretty easily. So yeah, I've dropped my Lugia too and replaced it with Defense Deoxys.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another counter user. However, it is weak to any ghost or dark types that are hanging, like any ghost or dark type moves that might be around. So I have seen plenty of Jellicent, so I know Jellicent would love to see Defense Deoxys. Unless you're running Thunderbolt, then you have a little bit of play against a Jellicent.
I'm not. I'm running Rock Slide for the Altarias and for the Galvantulas. I figure because that Jellicent's only got an 8% usage at the moment, whereas Altaria is running at 49% and Galvantula's at 23%. I feel like the Rock is a little bit more handy there.
Yeah, so that's only my first 2 tournaments. I ran those 2. I have some other tournaments coming up, so I'll probably switch up my lineup at least a little bit. I also just wanted to give a really quick factions update and a shout out. First off, my bees, I'm so excited. We're on a 4-week win streak, and I'm really excited about. We're currently 5-2. We barely scratched a win against Masubi. We won 11-10, which is very sweaty. But I wanted to shout out Masubi because there are so many girls at PvP on this squad. If you take a look at the Masubi squad down in North America Open, we have Mila Velian, Evie Lee, Love All Always, Robobell, and Melgood, and Sushi Must Write. So we have so many women featured on that faction squad that I really just wanted to shout them out. A lot of teams only have maybe 1 or 2 women, if any. So absolutely love to see that representation from Masubi in North America Open. This week, my faction, which was the Queen Bees, were an all-girls that PvP faction, also in North America Open. We're up against the Rowdy Rowlets, and we're getting kind of close. If we can win this week, we might be up to get promoted. So we will have to see. We're really fighting for it. Girls at PvP on that team, Moody Mimikyu and Myrtleiz. are also on that team. So shout out to them.
Nice. Glad to hear you guys are doing really well. It looks like you're on your way to being promoted again, which is awesome.
Yeah, we were in Iron for one cycle and then got shot right back down. I'd love to take another swing at North America Iron.
The Pallet Town factions, we've got 2 factions in the European region, 1 in the North American region, and 1 in the Asia Pacific. So we've been quite greedy with ours, but all 4 of our teams got wins this week. So Pallet Town Red beat the Goldine Girls. They are not looking like they'll be in the promotion zone this time, so we won't be meeting you in Iron Tier. Pallet Town Silver beat Team Deyusalurudo. No. Team Deyusarudo. Palatown Silver won. And Palatown Gold managed to beat the Spinder Beats. So Palatown Silver is extremely close to that promotion zone. They are equal third on points, but their overall battles won. They are 2 behind the team that is actually sitting in third. So very, very close, and it's going to come down to those last couple of weeks. Palatown Ruby, the Asia Pacific team, we won because we had a bye. But it's a win.
Yep, we take those. You always take those. Yeah, in North America Open right now, we have 1 undefeated team, the Barktown Boomers. Then we have 1 team that is 6-1, the Battle Boys, so Battle Bill PvP's team. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams that are 5-2. So have those 15 points. So this week is going to be a big deal to see kind of where that all shakes out.
All right, so that is our Sylph check-in. We now have the Play Pokemon section, and Orlando Regionals happened on the weekend.
It did. So if we take a look, Orlando, Florida, that was February 3rd to the 5th. And the player count for that was 124. So a massive, massive tournament. And our winner was Zay Burglar, is our regional champion, had a fantastic run, was in the winner's bracket, beat Frankie T52, lost to Bo Sox Guy, was knocked down to the loser's bracket, had a very, very close game against J Mills, beat him 3-2, and then went to face Bo Sox Guy in the grand finals. Zay Burglar beat him 3-0 to reset the bracket, and then went 3-1 to beat Bo Sox Guy again. So played him, 4, 7, 11 times. They had 11 matches on the day 2. It's quite a marathon. So, however, Zay Burglar reigned supreme and had a phenomenal spice pick. So, in addition to his Galarian Stunfisk, Noctowl, Trevenant, Lantern, and Medicham, your standard teams was running Shadow Mawile.
Yeah. Really interesting. Okay, so I don't get to watch these regionals because of the time they air, but what are you getting with Shadow Mawile? So like I guess if you're running Fire Fang Power Up Punch, maybe you can farm down a Galarian Stunfisk, but you'd have to shield an Earthquake. You'd probably be able to beat Noctowl. It doesn't have to run Fire Fang. Maybe you can run like a Fairy Wind, but then you are giving up the Galarian Stunfisk matchup and probably picking up the Medicham matchup. Trevenant would be interesting, like Fire Fang versus Fairy Wind there. You'd have to make some decisions with that Pokemon. So I'm going to give a shout out to a guy who is on Twitter. His name is Green BV, who after each of these regionals collects all the data of all the usage of all the teams in each regional and puts out these awesome digestible charts to help us learn what the current meta is. The chart that he's got, he only has 115 teams. He only has data on 115 teams out of the 124 that were registered. But 70% of those teams had Galarian Stunfisk on it. 67% had Medicham. 66% had Noctowl. And 54% had Trevenant. And this is something that I've seen some discussion on this lately, where the Great League meta has really condensed into those 4 picks. Looking even at the top 8 here, I think every single one of these top 8 has at least 3 of those 4 on their team.
I would definitely agree. The most common cores would be Medicham, Noctowl, and Galarian Stunfisk is the most common, or Medicham, Galarian Stunfisk, and Trevenant. Those are some of the most common cores of 3, and a lot of them go even further than that. So I've seen this out there by several content creators, several people on Twitter. Which was better? Was it better when everything was Trevenant and Walrein? Or is it better now when everything is Lantern and Trevenant and Noctowl?
Well, I may be, like, I don't have the data in front of me, but back when Trevenant and Walrein, it wasn't on as many teams as what this core 4 are, right?
I think so. I feel like everyone had a Trevenant and a Walrein, and then like a Registeel. So we'll have to see. I'm wondering if it's looking back and through rose-colored glasses, like, oh, it was better before. But when maybe it really wasn't all that great before either, because I remember plenty of people complaining at the time.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of this information from Twitter, where a lot of people complain on Twitter. So take it with a pinch of salt. But I guess one way that I look at it is, if there's only 2 Pokemon dominating as opposed to 4, then it still leads to a bit more variety in the rest of the team, as what the current one does. I've also seen a lot of commentary about how, like, Niantic have failed doing this, and I want to put out my disagreement of that, because it's like their hands are pretty tied with a lot of this. Like, they can't touch a Pokemon's stats, they can't touch a Pokemon's typing, so something like a Medicham is probably always going to dominate, and Trevenant as well. The only thing they can do is affect moves, and they've got to be really careful with how they change movesets on Pokemon. Like, if they nerfed Shadow Ball, that doesn't just affect Trevenant, that affects a lot of things. Like, if they nerf Counter, then suddenly that throws a rock amongst the pigeons, you know? They could kind of wind back Wing Attack a little to make Noctowl not as big. They could maybe nerf Mudshot a little, but again, that doesn't just affect Galarian Stunfisk, that affects a lot of Mudshotters. So they've got to be very careful, and there's really not that much Niantic can do to fix this. It's just kind of the natural state of the game.
Right. And if you're not playing any other games, this might be frustrating, but if you play a lot of different competitive games, you'll know that there are move updates and reworks that happen throughout competitive, in pretty much any competitive game. There are reworks and things. I think immediately to Unite, another Pokemon title. There are constantly reworks of which Pokemon have which moves and how powerful they are. That is constant, as well as pretty much any other competitive game. Which really, when you think about it, we're not that old when it comes to competitive gaming.
Oh,
we haven't been around. We're so young. We haven't. There's room to grow for sure.
So, taking a look at the upcoming regionals happening, we've got Melbourne Internationals happening on the 18th and 19th. There are 77 players registered for that last time I checked. And I'm going to skip ahead to the other Australian regional, Perth, which is happening on the 4th to 5th of March, which has 7 players registered. So,
oh dear.
Yeah.
Are you
Perth,
one of those 7?
Yes, I am, and so is my ex-partner. She has registered for it as well, and there's also a friend of mine from, like, a local community. So together we make up almost half of the Perth Championship.
Well, there's plenty of time to register. That's not until March 4th and 5th. There are 2 tournaments the weekend of February 24th to 26th, Knoxville and Bochum. Knoxville is in Tennessee in the United States, and Bochum is in Germany. But Fish, do you know what else is happening the weekend of February 24th to the 26th?
No, tell me, what's happening?
Hoenn Tour. So if you're giving lots of Pokemon players an option between you could go to this tournament or you could play Hoenn Tour, a lot of people are going to pick Hoenn Tour. Knoxville has 50 players registered, Bochum 32. So that is a problem. However, if you haven't noticed in Pokemon Go, there are events happening all the time. I'm sure it's difficult to schedule around, and I definitely don't work with Niantic. I work with Play Pokemon, but I would have to imagine from Niantic's perspective, they probably like having events at the same time as these regionals because it's getting people together in the real world, and then you give them an event to do as on top of it. But it can also be frustrating. So I'm not really sure. I know that these events are all planned out really far in advance, like the Play Pokemon season. I'm sure they have, again, above my pay grade, but I'm sure that they already are in the works of planning the next season's dates. Like these are planned out way far in advance. Niantic plans their calendars really far in advance.
And they've both got these things happening every weekend. Like I'm still looking at this list of upcoming regionals. There's literally one every weekend between now and late March. And Pokemon Go has an event pretty much every week. So it's impossible for them to both coordinate and say, well, we've got something happening this week, so make sure you don't have anything on this week.
Yeah, I think it's more complicated than the Twitter complainers make it seem. I think it's...
You can tell we've spent a lot of time on Twitter this week, and we've got thoughts.
However, let's take a look. Vancouver, Canada, March 10th through the 12th. Tons of time to register. Last check was 32. I'm sure that is going to go up. Natal in Brazil registration just opened. And then the one in Utrecht, Netherlands, still holding strong at around 164 players registered. I'd love to see that push to like 250, like get that way up there. I think that would be fantastic to see. So we will have to see. And there's still a ton of time to register. That is not until March 18th and 19th. So over a month away.
And that's it for the Play Pokemon section. Finally, let's move on to the shameless plugs. I want to give a shout out to some people in the community who have hit milestones. In the Pallet Town PvP community, we have Janino and Bandman Clayton, who both hit Legend. Blepnir hit Expert. Athena and Collectanto hit Veteran. And in the GOCast community, we've got Wang Jie Chen hit a new peak for the season of 23-14. And Triptando has hit Legend. Well done.
Congratulations, trainers.
As far as content goes, just make sure to check out the breakdown videos of each GBL meta we do on the Pallet Town PvP YouTube channel. We've got, as DeFi mentioned, a 2-hour-long full breakdown, which gives you all the information you could possibly want to know. And then we've got a TLDR 5-minute version for those who just don't want to sit through that whole thing and just want to get like the basics and then use that to build off of themselves.
I'm definitely the TLDR listener.
Yeah, I know.
Love me some of that. Nothing big from me again. I think Instagram is where I'm posting more often right now. I do a lot of retweets on Twitter and I'll post big things there. But I just like Instagram is so chill right now. I've got a ton of AR photos in my feed that I really like. And then I just post it to my stories, pictures of like, here's this cute Dunkin' Donuts donut that I got this morning. So again, if that kind of slice of life, quick content is something that you're looking for, I post different like what you're reading, what are you listening to right now? If that kind of content is something you want from me or that kind of engagement, Instagram is the best way to get it.
To close out, we love hearing from you. If you have any questions or suggestions for myself or DeFi, you can direct that to pvbcorner@gocastpodcast.com. You can also send us a voicemail or physical mail to the GoCast PO box. Chris talks about each of these at the end of the show, so listen for that. In the show description, you can click on More Fish or More DeFi to take you to our other projects and ways to contact us. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, Fish and DeFi, for yet another wonderful PvP Corner segment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Mr. Kyle. I know we're not running as long as normal, but for some reason, I still can't maintain my train of thought. What are we doing? Where are we?
It's time for emails.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and we've got 4 voicemails.
Oh, my gosh.
Woo! Okay, let's get going here. This first voicemail is from Kevin Red Bull.
Hi, Chris and Kyle. It's Kevin Red Bull here. I actually have some big news. I'm calling you on Monday morning at my lunch. I played Noibat Community Day yesterday on Sunday, February 5th. And after about 1.3 million XP worth of grinding, I hit level 50. And not only did I hit level 50, I made it a little more special. I evolved the only 3-star shiny Noibat I got, which I did not have a Noibat previous to this day.
Nice.
It painfully eluded me when it was hatched, but all my friends got it. Chris. It was an amazing moment. I actually hit level 40 at 4:20 p.m. in the afternoon, which I usually send my friends and family on Snapchat a quick little 1-minute happy 4:20 in the afternoon snap.
Oh, my God.
Wink, wink. So I just wanted to call you guys and leave a nice voicemail saying I officially hit level 50. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be in the club. Chris, glad to be there with you. Kyle, maybe someday.
One day.
Have a great day, you guys. Shiny vibes all. Kevin Red Bull out.
Kevin, congrats. It's a huge accomplishment. Yeah.
Also, in the same club, I evolved my first Noivern on Community Day.
Ooh.
And it was shiny. So it's shiny dex entry technically. That's fun.
Yeah. Good deal. Hey, do you like shiny Noivern?
It's fine. I don't have any particular thoughts. It's an okay like teal color.
Like aquamarine sort of. It's actually less green than that, more blue, I suppose. But I think Noibat looks way better than Noivern.
Yeah, I think it just like being smaller with more details of the alternating colors is for sure. Yeah.
100%. But yeah, Kevin, again, congratulations on level 50. That's incredible. And thank you for giving Kyle kind of a hard time. I appreciate that.
Also, I'm going to interrupt the voicemail for something we should have mentioned in news just because it's really funny.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention the greatest change they ever added to the game. And they changed the way that the items are sorted. On the
So how it's been sorted or how it looks?
Well, like how it, you don't have to scroll anymore. It's actually like just set it up in sections. It's amazing.
It's really nice. Yeah. So that was out for a bunch of people and it finally rolled out for all of us. So I'm assuming I think it was a forced update for everybody, but it looks so much cleaner.
It's so much better. I don't know why there's even an option to switch back and forth. Just get rid of the old way.
I did see some people saying that they looked a little bit small. So maybe accessibility to make them bigger.
Oh, okay. Anyways, sorry to interrupt, but I don't know. I like that feature.
No, that's right. That's technically new. So that counts. But thank you very much, Kevin Red Bull. This next one is from Mooselet211.
Hey, Chris and Kyle. Name's Mooselet211. Big fan. New listener. To answer y'all's Poke question, I tap on gyms only if there's space to plop Pokemon in, never battle them, never spin the photo disc. Let my Go Plus take care of that. If it's full, no need to tap on it. Also, Kyle, you mentioned you don't know what Synchronoise does in the original games. Well, it hits all adjacent Pokemon that share a type. So, for example, if a normal flying type uses it, then a dragon flying type is going to get hit. Has 120 base damage, 100 accuracy. It's pretty good. It's an egg move for Ralts. But I got a question for y'all. Do y'all think that Pokemon Go will ever allow raid mythical Pokemon to be traded, like Darkrai or Deoxys? Because I have a bunch of those, and I would love a Lucky, but I've got so many shinies that they're just sitting there and they're useless. Well, thank y'all for y'all's content. I'm going to Vegas, so I'd love to see one of y'all there. Y'all have a good one.
That's a very interesting move. I don't know. Maybe I should go read about it, see like is that actually
Synchronoid
use cases? Yeah.
I'd be interested to see it too, but in Go it's just not all that, or a bag
Nope.
of chips, nothing. So but yeah, no, I'll see you in Vegas, Moonslit. Hit me up, let's meet up, let's say hi, be cool to meet you. But this question of, do we think that Niantic will eventually make raidable mythicals tradable?
Yeah, my gut says no. Personally, I wouldn't hold on to any Deoxys or Darkrai for trading, but you never know. I feel like it's not allowed because the Pokemon Company said something, and it seems unlikely the Pokemon Company would change their stance.
Yeah, so I think it actually, here's my theory, okay? I think it comes from one place and one place only, and that's Mew and how Mew is handled. They're very particular about how Mew is handled, and it has the mythical categorization, right, on purpose for that. And because of that, and because of a similar way that Celebi is treated, they had to make a set of rules for mythical, so they all had consistent treatment over other games. Now, it's not that you can't trade Mew away in the Game Boy games and other main series games. That's completely fine. I think the reason that you can't trade mythicals in this game, even raidable ones, is because there are distinct benefits that come with trading, and they change these Pokemon for the same reason that we're probably never going to see a Shadow Mew. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
They would probably not want to see a Lucky Mew as well. Mew is Mew. Shiny Mew is Shiny Mew, and that's kind of like a collection piece. But Mew canonically for Pokemon is really important, and so I think they don't want to change that.
And I think they like to treat mythicals very special in the main series games in general. So while they might not be as important as Mew is, they try and stay at least somewhat consistent in that regard.
Right. So who knows if that's the reason or otherwise, but I think, changing a core element of these iconic Pokemon that they haven't decided to do themselves is just going to stop them from being treated other ways. You know, at least you can transfer the raidable ones. That's a nice change.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? You're just slamming Deoxys raids, didn't know, go to transfer 400 of them, and you're like, uh-oh.
That'd be hilarious. Oh my God.
It'd be so bad. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for that voicemail. Here's our next one from Andy.
Hi, guys. Love the show. I'm here to answer the Poke Poll about the gyms. Well, I love getting gym badges. So I've got over 200 gold badges at this point, and it's something that people I know are into, and it's also cool just to have that kind of record of being at this place for a while, and supporting my team, Instinct Forever. So
Let's go.
Also,
there's always
I don't want to be unpopular, but I love the thing of having matching teams in a gym, defending the gym. So if somebody puts a pink Pokemon in, I'm going to put a pink one in too.
Yeah.
And so that person that just leaves a slack off when they're cruising by, well, to each their own. But that's what I love about it. This is Andy from Louisville, Kentucky, by the way. And sorry for the long voicemail. Bye.
I am appreciating all the love for themed teams in the gym. I will admit that is a fun aspect of gyms for sure.
Yeah, and here I am. I pick the lowest CP thing that I can put in nowadays.
Really? Okay.
I think I put a shiny Wooper in the other day that was like 200 CP or something like that.
Awesome. That's a high level Wooper, dude.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
like level 20 Wooper you got your hands on there.
Well, I think it was hatched, so yeah.
Yeah. But no, thank you very much for leaving a voicemail about your experience with gyms. I agree. Some aspects of it is fun, and I do appreciate that you like the gym badges. I just wish the game had more respect for players like you. Like Kyle was saying, there needs to be some sort of permanent collection process. That needs to be revisited. The map for the gyms also needs to be revisited. I forget that exists. Yeah. That's pretty much it, unfortunately. But thank you for the voicemail. This next one is from an unnamed person. Y'all got to say who you are. I'm sorry, I don't know your phone numbers.
Hey, Chris and Kyle. Got a question for you. Since Generation 3, we've been able to catch babies in the wild, starting with Why Not on Mirage Island, and then in Generation 4, I think with the Trophy Garden. Do you suspect Niantic's ever going to let these baby Pokemon out of eggs for maybe like an Easter event? Or is it simply too profitable to keep them in eggs? Thanks. Shiny vibes all. Trent.
Oh, it's Trent.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. I didn't
Hello.
catch that the first time I listened to it. Hey, Trent, thanks.
We got, was it Cleffa in raids? Something, I swear to God, we got a baby that was not in the wild that had a hat or something, or that was in the wild. Not
Did we
eggs.
really? I don't remember.
I
Was it
swear.
Smoochum or
Okay,
something?
I could be making this up. If somebody else remembers this, please let me know. I'll look it up later, but we'll go off the idea that we've never had it. It's kind of weird because babies have never just been exclusive to eggs in Pokemon, except for Gen 3. 2 and 3, I guess, technically. Like, Gen 4 has Riolu in the wild. You don't have to hatch an egg to get Riolu.
Yeah.
Same thing for Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to change it because it makes a lot of money, not going to lie, but it also is just a fitting thematically for their game in a way. I don't know how to further express the idea that it makes more sense in Go for babies not to be in raids or the wild than it does in the main series game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you 100% there. I don't think there's really much of a chance outside of, some special events or some outliers that they would move the baby pool out of eggs. Yeah. They just fit really well thematically with being in an egg pool, and there's enough of them and they're exciting enough that they kind of carry an egg pool by themselves more often than not.
And on that same note about being exciting enough, the moment it's out of an egg pool, it's done. Like, they can't put it back. I mean, they will, but they don't get it back, The moment Riolu is available in raids, it's done. Like, nobody's going to want to hatch another egg for it in the same capacity. So they'd have to be absolutely sure that they were done with the Pokemon in eggs first.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That being said, I, again, don't think that they're ever not going to be in eggs. So
yeah,
I think we're safe. Again, the only exception might be if it's a special event. Riolu is a good candidate. Could potentially be maybe like a research breakthrough or something like that, or a
really
field research task or something like that. What's that? Riolu's the only one.
I feel like Riolu is the only one that like, I don't know, it stands to have something around it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see a costumed Pichu perhaps in a.
Yeah, but they already do that, and you just have to hatch an egg of it.
True, very very true. So,
I guess Tyrogue, maybe you could do a Tyrogue research day, and that would check out. I think maybe
we need a Tyrogue community day is what we need.
That'd be interesting. Yeah,
that would be a really great way to gut that Shiny's allure, though. 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everybody for your voicemails. It's so cool to have 4 of them. Trent, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name the first time through, so thank you very much for providing that. But now we're going to cover a few emails before we're out of here for the episode.
First email's from Walter, and they said, "Hello, Chris and Kyle. I am writing this email just after listening to your rant about Mega Gengar." Which one?
Yeah.
Are there any other megas with good dark type attacks? And if so, why is Mega Gengar so good? Why use a ghost type over a dark? They are both super effective against ghost and psychic, but any ghost boss will be super effective against the ghost type you have. As a response to your poke poll, I'm a free-to-play player and interact with gyms as often as possible. I usually try to sit on 3 to 5 Pokemon in gyms at all times and always take gyms unless there is a Pokemon in the Happiny Evolution line. Those are so annoying.
Yeah.
I'm on Team Mystic, by the way. I think this email has the perfect length, and I am sorry for nothing. Happy Valentine's Day and shiny vibes all. Sending this the day before Community Day, so good luck.
Oh, well, hopefully you walked away with a barrel of shinies.
So, Dark Megas. We have Houndoom. We have Gyarados. We will have Tyranitar eventually at some point.
Absol,
Sharpedo. I think that's it. I think those are the
there's probably one or two other ones, but we can't recall them right now. Yeah.
So in the grand scheme of things, a Dark Mega works just fine. Like, they are interchangeable in a lot of capacities. One benefit, of course, is Mega Gengar boosts the candy drop for a ghost raid boss, as well as is super effective against it. The one downside, of course, is Mega Gengar is weak to psychic. So that's something I have to deal with still every day.
But how common could raid Pokemon that are also psychic type be, Kyle?
I mean, it's the only reason you're bringing Mega Gengar in the first place.
The answer is incredibly common.
It's so common. Why are they so common? Anyway, but just for some numbers about how good Mega Gengar is because of stats, with Lick and Shadow Ball, it 23.3 DPS, 581 TDO. We'll use Mega Absol right now because it has the highest DPS. 18.7 DPS, 335 TDO. So the TDO is really bad in Mega Absol. But we'll do something else instead. Mega Houndoom. 18.4 DPS, 524 TDO. So a full 5 less DPS than Mega Gengar in the scenario. Usable. Definitely still really good. But if you're looking purely at DPS, which a lot of people do, Mega Gengar still kind of blows them all out of the water.
Right.
Mega Tyranitar is slightly different. 17 DPS, 825 TDO. So real tanky, obviously, is Tyranitar. But because of the loss in DPS, it averages out to be about as good as Houndoom, really.
That being said, though, if it's on the field longer, your teammates will benefit from the bonus longer too. So
yes,
you could make an
arguments across the board for sure.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that answers the question. Yeah, I think it does here. But yeah, Gengar is just good. Like, there's more to it than the typing. I mean, typing is really, really, really important for sure. But yeah, Gengar's stats are just out of this world.
Crazy.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your email. This next one is from Mocking John, and they said, just a quick question. Why do you want so many shinies? At the end of your episodes, you often set goals for catching what I consider to be an unnecessary amount of shinies. What are you doing with all of them? I get wanting one of each for collection purposes. Why do you want so gosh darn many? Are you trying to run out of storage? Love the podcast. So happy I found it. Keep up the great work. Reasonable amount of shiny vibes. Signed, Mocking John.
Okay. So, Chris, I need to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What percentage of your current Pokemon storage is shinies?
It's a great question there, Kyle. Let's just say right now I'm actually sitting in a great spot storage-wise. Yeah. I have max storage of 6,200, right? But I only have 5,650 filled.
We're very, very similar storage right now. Okay.
Wow. Okay, so 5,650. I have shinies right now. I've got 2,120. 2,119. Actually, forgive me, I misspoke.
So Chris is currently sitting at 2/5 of his inventory in shinies. Pokemon he can't touch or do anything with.
Yeah.
I'm at 5,576 Pokemon right now. 1,155 for shinies. So 1/5 of my inventory is shinies. As to why so many, the answer I think is really simple, probably for both of us, and it's because we can.
Right. that really is it. I'm gonna push this a little bit further and say, Maki and John, do you even play Pokemon Go? The answer is obvious. It's because they're shiny. That's it. That's good enough. No, but honestly, it's just one of the things that you can actively sort of compete with somebody at. It has just the right amount of RNG that it can swing a little bit, but not too much. Like, it's, some people use it as a faux measure of success for their events and stuff. It's just a cultural thing, I think.
Yeah, I think there's one thing, like jokes and stuff aside, that it's really easy to track shinies. Like, that's the easiest thing in the game to track, aside from maybe number of Pokemon caught. But even that, you start transferring them and you start losing your count. So you have to look at your total on your profile page and, keep track of that. It's really easy to walk into an event that has an increased shiny chance that's not normal and go, I want this many. And then you can use that to keep track of what you're doing. Sure, you could say, hey, I only care about getting 750 XL candy. But you don't have that hit of dopamine every time you get an XL candy, but you do every time you get a shiny. Even if you don't care about the shiny, it still happens.
Yeah. A great way of making me care about a Pokemon I don't care about is if it's shiny. Then I'm like, oh, all right, golden raspberry, let's go. Like, here's another argument, though, I will make really quick, is that if you're looking to get a good IV shiny, the best way to increase your chances is to catch more shinies, so you have more rolls on potentially better IVs.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't care about that, but I do.
Yeah, that said, 30 shinies is probably excessive, but only because you don't get rid of any of them after the fact.
I'll let you know. I did put like 4 Weedles in home the other day.
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations. Like that's only 2 years old, 3 years old almost.
I'll move a few more later or something like that. Who knows? But so you said yours was about a fifth with shiny. So I said, I said like 50. I've got like 5,400 or something, right? Pokemon.
Yeah. So you're at 2/5 approximately.
Oh my gosh.
Right, you have twice as many shinies as I do.
That's right.
Which really checks out, partially because I've transferred. I've probably transferred over 200 shinies approximately, and the last like 5 community days in particular, Chris has had a lot higher goals than me. So
yes, yeah, that's true, and I refuse to apologize for that.
Yeah, I know we should, but
no. So anyway, Maki and John, hope that answers your question about this weird obsession that we all have. But thank you very much for your message.
Our next email is from an unnamed texter. It says, sorry for the medium length off subject text. Genshin Impact has been mentioned more than once. Kyle, I need to know, what's your team for overworld exploring? Well, there's a couple of questions. Let's answer that real quick. I use Yelan, Raiden, Bennett, and Kazuha whenever I do literally anything in Genshin Impact. And I know for the rest of this text, it's going to be a completely another language for Pokemon players. It's how everybody else feels when we talk about Pokemon. Don't worry.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. This is more of an introspective exercise than anything else.
For the rest of the text, I know certain bosses need certain elements, but what is your generic boss team? It is the previously mentioned that will fight literally everything unless it is immune to Electro, in which case I will then use Yelan, Xingqiu, Hu Tao, and Zhongli. So, yeah. Is Bennett the Pyro Archon? Sorry, go ahead.
Is Zhang? You said Zhongli?
Zhongli. It's written later in the email, actually. The text message, actually.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, but not Chun-Li, which I was like, isn't that Street Fighter?
Not Chun-Li.
Oh, for a second. Like when you're listening to somebody else speak another language, but like 5 or 6 words, and you hear a word like, I know what that one means. Like, that's how I felt for a second there.
Yep, that's fair. Is Bennett the Pyro Archon? No, probably not, but they're going to have to make the Pyro Archon very OP to top Bennett. Hands down the best unit in the game. Zhongli shields are a must for mobile players. I feel bad for anyone who plays Genshin on mobile. I'm not going to lie. I've only done it out of pure necessity, pretty much like when we were in Seattle.
For your dailies and stuff?
Yeah. Keep up the great work. May your 10 pulls be 5 stars. That is a Genshin equivalent of shiny vibes. So thank you very much.
5 pulls be 10 stars as well.
I have to go do that after the podcast because the banners just rotated. So I'm excited.
Oh, okay. Did the wind just start blowing the other direction? Is that how that works?
No, it's just been 3 weeks.
Oh. I appreciate you just completely disarmed my joke and just left it to die on the side of the road. This is podcasting at its greatest. All right. Well, anyway, our last email is from Monkey Flower, and they said, I was inspired to write by your question about gyms and comments about 3-star rates. I am a free-to-play player who came to the game through an interest in gamifying exercise. Apparently, my playstyle is your opposite. I battle or put Pokemon in gyms every day. As free-to-play, I want those 50 coins. Since I'm early in the game, less than 3 months, almost all the coins go for bag expansions and Pokemon storage. Yeah, that's completely fair. I can't imagine playing with the default bag space and storage at this point. I could not either.
I remember seeing a new player's account and being like, what?
You're like, this isn't even enough for one community day. Half of one community day. I can't imagine playing with the default bag space. Yep. I am saving for a box of incubators since I like eggs, but will only buy incubators with a good discount. I also spin gym discs for items. I should remember your advice that spinning stops is faster and do those first. I was interested to hear that one of you reached level 50 without getting the Gym Defender's Platinum badge. I'm about 1/4 of the way there already, around 3,800 hours. I also noticed today that I recently got my first gold gym badge. Well, first of all, congratulations on your first gold gym badge. And yep, I'm a happy level 50 trainer that never had to do this badge.
Oh my God.
Yep. I also like 3-star raids. I have only raided in person so far. That's a good experience. I mean, I love my remote raids. Kyle, I'm sure you do too, but nothing beats a good in-person raid experience. It's fun.
Yeah.
I agree that 3-star and 1-star aren't worth $1, but in person with the free daily pass is different. At this point, I can safely solo most 3-star raids. I only do 1-star if I don't have it in my decks, such as Clink in the last round. 3-star take only slightly longer and the rewards are better. For 4-star and 5-star raids, I use Pokegenie to get people to join me. I think a lot of people do this. And I would say, there's apps that will hook you up with raid parties and stuff like that. But it's essentially just like a stand-in. Also, if you have a community that hosts raids, it's the same sort of idea. For those of you that are unfamiliar, it takes quite a lot longer than ones I can solo, especially when there are lots of open lobbies. To do a 4-star or 5-star in person, I need to find a raid at a time and place that I can do, when the host queue in Pokegenie isn't prohibitively long. That's the downside with some of these apps, is that some of these bosses are so popular that you'll be waiting for a very long time. Therefore, if the legendary isn't very good, like Reg Ice, I will stop once I get one and use my free daily raid passes for something that takes less time. I know that the other rewards, like Rare Candy, are less in 3-star, but that's the trade-off. P.S. I also like Shadows, and I'm raising a whole lot that I recently removed frustration from in my first Rocket Takeover event. Good. Thank you for getting the frustration off those Shadow Pokemon the first time, instead of missing it, because, again, we mentioned a lot, but that happens for a lot of people. Sounds like you're off to a real strong Pokemon Go career start over there. My goodness.
Yeah, and I will say, especially as an early free-to-play player, gyms are your life. Like, the rest of the game doesn't matter, because if you're not spending money, you need the coins to expand your bag, because the game is miserable otherwise.
Right. Yeah. I will say, 100% that I agree with Kyle. Normally, I would not care about gyms, but if I didn't have max storage and I was free to play, I would care a whole lot, because,
It reminds me every once in a while I'll talk about Pokemon Go with a couple of my coworkers who do play a little bit, very casually, and talk about storage space and stuff. And they're like, they don't have enough. And they're like, and I'm like, how much do you have? And they're like, like 500. And I'm like, and they're like, why? How much do you have? And I'm like, 6,200.
Yeah.
They're like, what, Kyle? How much money have you spent? I'm like, I can't tell you that.
Enough that my significant other doesn't believe me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, but yeah, no, you made a great argument, Monkey Flower, for caring about gyms for sure. So thank you.
Oh yeah,
thanks for that. And if you, dear listener, would like to send us an email just like these fine folks did, you can by sending it to mail@gocastpodcast.com. If you'd like to send us a voicemail, you can do so by calling 262-586-7717. Follow us on Twitter @GoCastPodcast. Visit our website, gocastpodcast.com, for all things GoCast Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/GoCast Podcast, and on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/GoCast Podcast. And if you'd like to help support the show monetarily and help us continue what we're doing here, please consider supporting us on Patreon. That's spelled Patreon.com. And then go to /GoCast Podcast, or just search for us on Google. You'll find it. And speaking of patrons, shout outs to our Elite Trainer tier patrons. Thank you to, actually, Kyle, it's been a few weeks. I think it's your turn.
All right. Shout out to Elite Trainers Bo, Daniel, Andrew, Lori, Michael, Ozzy, Ted, Tish, Marvin, Mimi, Sports, Sue and Ryan, Thayer, Jason, Justin, Charles, Motters, Lee, William, Brandon, Ethan, Steven, Nick, Kelvin, and our favorite listener, Drew 2.
That's right. And I want to reiterate for some feelings of some other listeners. Our favorite listener, Drew 2, is the name. It's not an opinion. I'm sorry, modders. We love you. Well, if you'd like to help support the show in another way, non-monetarily, you can by leaving us a review, please. 5-star reviews help us out a whole lot. So if you have an opportunity to do so, it's free. It just takes a little bit of your time. Thank you in advance. We'd appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, Kyle, we got to set some goals, and I think we're out of here. So what are you looking to achieve this upcoming week?
Set an unprecedented goal. It's not unprecedented. It's just been a long time. Shiny frillish. I want a shiny frillish. It's probably not going to happen. I'm very aware of that, but I have to set the goal anyways. That means hatching eggs, because I know the research tasks are not going to be that readily available.
They could be. That'd be awesome if they were.
The box that's currently out right now is okay. It's 10 supers and 10 regular for $18.50.
Oh yeah, they've actually had that box before.
Yeah, it's been up for a while now. I made this decision last week after we recorded, so I bought some boxes and they're just sitting there right now. So I was like, I have a lot of poke coins, so like I guess I will. I'm gonna hate myself at the end of the week, but I'm not setting an egg number because I'm just gonna hatch as many seconds as I can have. Yeah. And otherwise, continue my mega progress slowly but surely. I will get the Mega 3 number up to whatever it should be. And lastly, Love Disc Day is going to fall on the end of this week. So I want to get 5 shiny Love Disc. I currently have 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been out for a while, but not everybody has them. They're kind of still a rare shiny. Yeah. Well, I'm copying a lot of your goals because you kind of like set the goals for all the interesting things that are happening this week. So shiny frillish for myself instead. I will set a number of eggs, though, another 50 hopefully this week. Love Disc Research Day. I'd like to get 10 shinies of those if I can, just because I want to push it. Although I think that Kyle's probably closer to the mark of what's appropriate for the event. And then lastly, here's a new one for me, just because you made me remember that I should care about this, I guess. Transfer 5 shinies to home. I don't know what they'll be yet, but I'll use as much free energy as I can this week to transfer a full load of shinies to Pokemon Home.
Is 5 shinies the maximum free energy you have in a week?
Yeah, it's a 5th of your energy to transfer a shiny.
Holy God.
Yeah, it's a really slow process, and that's largely why I forget about it, but that's bad because I need to remember it over a long period of time in order to get it done.
Like 10 years, Chris.
It's going to take a really, really
It's
really
like 10 years.
Time. Yeah, so
you know what you could do? You know what you could do is trade 1 shiny a day as well to your sister, and then she could transfer it to home, and then you could trade in Pokemon. I don't,
we
that's very convoluted, but
that's 10 a week. Wow, let's get it done. No, I'm not going to do that.
hey,
technically that was a solution, so thank you. I appreciate it.
It doubles the speed.
I'm not going to be doing that. Doubles the
every
speed,
person you find increases your speed.
We need to have like a club of people with switches. Like, hey guys, come over. We're going to do a little transfer thing. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
No, but you'd also get this, Kyle, because shinies are special trades in Pokemon Go. You'd also have to trade those over the course of 5 days.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But there's 7 days in a week.
It's still doable. So you're right. I hate this the more we talk about it.
And sometimes to special trades. So,
Oh, that's true. If it's a good seasonal bonus, who knows? Okay. Anyway, I think that's an excellent note to close out the show on. So thank you very much for listening all the way through, dear listener. We'll see you next week for episode 226. And next week, I'll give you a heads up. We're going to be covering the Hoenn Tour in its entirety. Since we got that event pretty piecemeal, we're going to throw it together and make sure that we all understand what's going on in its entirety for both Vegas and the global. But until then, Shiny Vibes, have a great week, and good luck on Love Disc Research Day. Bye-bye.
Bye.